Hey, welcome back to a sad day at the mill. My name is Bill. This is Power Solutions Forestry. I'm out here with Danny. My back is just about blown out. Been delivering orders, cleaning up the mill yard. I think I'll show you around a little bit at some point, probably the end of this video after we mill this white oak. But I went to go over and see my friend. For those of you that follow me know that I've been going over every morning at 10 o'clock to hang out with a buddy of mine who's been very sick with cancer. And don't ask me what kind, because he has everything. He has bone cancer, he has liver cancer, he has it all through him. Everywhere there is, he's full and trying everything. They've been fighting really, really hard for the last 3 or 4 years with him. Was a relatively healthy kid before that. And I got a message this morning just before 10. I was waiting for my timber frame guy to come pick up his beams. And as soon as he picked up his beams, I was going to head over and hang out with him for a little while. But I got a message from his wife that she did not want any visitors today, that he's at the end of life. So he's my age. It's very, very hard to process. I've lost 4 or 5 really good friends in the last 4 or 5 years that were my age and even younger, and it's kind of a tough thing. You go through your young life and you don't ever really see anything like this. You might lose a friend here or there to an accident or something. But at some point, as you grow older, all of a sudden this kind of starts falling down on you. And the tough part for me is that my family owned a funeral home for 4 generations. So, when I went over to the funeral home as a kid, I was there pretty much all the time. And I worked there as a kid too. There was always somebody dead in a coffin, and that never bothered me. You get used to that after a while. But what I've never gotten used to is seeing people that are alive sick, and this was really hard, seeing him sick. Um, so it's a pretty sad day. I'm trying to keep myself busy. My back's really bad. I did a ton of cleanup. I got a bunch of kindling in the house, and I have for a timber frame up in New Hampshire, I need to cut 4 6x6 white oak timbers. I guess they're having trouble finding them, and through a friend, word got down to me saying, "Hey, can you cut these white oak timbers for these people?" They spent 7 years, husband and wife, 7 years milling timbers on a Norwood. Actually, I'm not sure which um, model they have, but they milled this entire frame on a Norwood and did all the joinery themselves, and they just raised it on Monday, and it's huge. You're talking about like I don't know, just from looking at the frame, it's over 3,000, so probably 4 or 5,000 square foot house. And they did it all themselves, and it took them like 7 years to get this frame up. So now they're asking me for some white oak timbers. I guess they're having a hard time finding white oak up in New Hampshire, from what I'm hearing. And I've got a bunch of white oak timbers lying around, but in typical me fashion, everything's tight. So I have one up on the mill right now that's almost 9 feet. It's fairly small, but it looks pretty flaw free. We're going to try to mill that into a 6x6. And what I'm going to do when I do this, I asked them, I said, is any Wayne okay? And the in between said no. He said that he's not, he doesn't even really want any sapwood on them. So we're going to try to shave them down, get rid of as much sapwood as we can. It's probably not realistic that we'll be able to get rid of it all. I do have a 10 by 10 white oak over in my pile over here that's somewhere around 10, 12 feet long, that had some metal in it. I probably will use that one. So with the one on the mill, that gives me two. And then I have 3 logs sitting over here to choose from, and I'll show you them, show you what I'm up against. Because just with me, I don't know why, but it just always seems like it's tight. Hey, Danny. Oh, there he is. So I have white oak here, and that looks like a really good candidate. Doesn't look like there's going to be any problems with that one. I have a white oak here, and I would say this one's a really good candidate. There's not going to be problems with this one either, but it looks like, now I can't tell whether this is a stress check or whether it was when they fell the tree. It almost looks like it was when they fell the tree. It almost barber-chaired. So you can see the face notch in the front and their back cut, and you can see where the crack is. It looks like it tried to barber-chair, but 8 feet is like, if you look down the log, from over there to 8 feet is kind of like right in here, right at the beginning of that crack. So this one could be okay. I have this gnarly funky one here that looks like I could get a 6x6 out of it. The problem with that one is that I think the camera straightens it out. It's kind of curvy and it's got a bunch of stuff going on. There's a possibility that one will twist up like a pretzel. And I got this little small one up on the mill right here that's a real good candidate, straight. Looks like no problems getting a 6x6 out of that one. I also do have a few more up there. I just picked the ones that were in the front because I had to deconstruct the piles to get at them. So as you guys can see, I'm working on the clear pine order here. I'm stacking it all. I want him to come out and pick through the boards. All my slabs still have to go to the slab guy, Thatcher Smith. Right there, my finger's pointing right there, is a 10 by 10 white oak that I think is somewhere around, I think it's over 10. I think it's a 10 or 11, 12 feet long. And it had some metal in it, but that one's going to get cut down to a 6x6. You can see I got everything out from aside the mill. I wanted to clean out under the mill, but I'm in such a bad mood today, I think I just want to cut. So that's what I'm going to do. I cut a whole ton of all this small stuff into kindling for inside. My kindling bin in the house, and that's all inside. The rest of this, I think I'm just going to drive over it, chop it up, and end up throwing it in the hugel culture here. So what we're going to do is we're going to mill this one off. And it's pretty typical of watching me mill. Just seems like every single time I do, we're cutting it kind of close. So this, can I get a 6x6 out of this with no wane? I'm going to say yes. Is it going to be simple? I'm going to say no. And I'm going to have to really pay attention to how I do it. So I think there are going to be a lot of flips here, is I guess the moral of the story. I want to get it into, I want to stay far away from, let's say, 8 inches. Let's say I want to shoot for an 8x8 and then shave that down little by little to get rid of the sapwood and get it as clean as I possibly can. I'm still running the same Stella Cup band, guys. The one that did like 3,000 and then I face ground it. I don't know what to say at this point. They just keep chugging. I don't have a lot of water in my mill right now, but you shouldn't really need a whole ton for white oak like this. So I'm just going to put a drip on it. And we're going to take it apart, and I'll kind of keep you abreast as I do it. Hopefully this goes pretty quick. And that would give me 2 of the 4. My worry is that, I wasn't going to cut this today, but my worry is that my friend is going to head off to New Hampshire on Friday. And if I could send them with him, then that would be a bonus. So let's start taking it apart. We'll see what happens. I'll kind of keep you in the loop as far as my mindset goes, or what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm going to take myself up to 10 right now. I don't even know. I'm not even going to put a tape measure on my hip. See if I can take the top off at a 10. It looks like it's kind of a miss. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go to 9.5. And we're going to take it right there and see what happens. See how this blade cuts through. And this blade is just walking through it like it's walking through a party. It's just amazing. Um, I think for the sake of this is not a big enough flat, it does need to come down more on this side. I'm going to try to take it to maybe 8.5 right now. I'm trying to stay away from, as far away from 6 as I can. Take it to 8.5. We'll take a 7/8 switch off it. Need a little more water on my thing here. I'm not getting any out of it. For those of you that cut cross ties and stuff like that, that are going to instantly say, you know, when you cut cross ties, you just hammer them out. This is not the same thing. They're putting up their dream home. These are going to be posts on their outside deck. They want white oak for rot resistance, and they want it to look good. So this is not the same thing as cutting cross ties, where you just blast them out, don't give a shit. And this is, I'm gonna get my scraper out, actual give a shit stuff here. This is not the same thing. So I got a pretty good flat on the top, definitely 6 inches. That band is cutting great. It is important that you pay attention to cleaning off your wood and stuff like that. The white oak will tend to stain pretty bad if you don't. I'm going to flip it over, see if we can get it off at, I think that was at 8.5. See if we can get it off at 7.5-ish. See if we can see if we can try to not break 7 on the other side. If we have to, we have to, but we're going to try not to. If I could get a clean side at 7, that would be great. That gives me an inch to kind of play with. God, I'm so sore. I'm working yesterday. Just stepped on my shoelace and untied my shoe. I am a mess today, guys. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that I can get a 6x6 out of this log. The question is, can I get a 6x6 that's going to be good enough for these people's dream home? That's the question. So we're going to take it down to like, see where like 7.5 is. That almost looks like a reasonable cut. I think I'm going to take it. I'm going to come up a little bit. I'm going to come up to 8. We're going to take it there. So I don't know if you guys saw that big shift in the log. It wasn't tight somehow here. Okay, now we're going to take it off at 8. I don't want this to move. Does it have to be perfectly square? No, it's just got to be square with no real softwood. God damn it. Son of a bitch is moving around. So that did nothing. We're going to come down at least an inch. That was at 8. I'm going to come to 7. And I don't want to break 7, guys. No matter what I get out of this cut right here, it's staying there until I trim it down. I want to have that flexibility. So I'm going at 7. Oh. So we got it to 7 this way. It looks like we've got a pretty close to 6-inch flat both ways. Now the critical cut. I am actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to take the sawdust off. And we got to flip this thing and get it squared up. And then we are going to have to trim into 6x6. So I've got my stop at like 4 right now, I think, 4 or 5. Just so I can never, in this particular job here, I can never run into them. Damn it. Bugs. There's all kinds of shit going on today. Okay, so get this thing square. Perfectly square. And I'm just going to take a look at it quick and, oh, did that knock that out of square? Take a look at it quick and see what it looks like height-wise. Nope, perfectly square. Nope, don't want to throw that over there. We're going to check it height-wise and make sure we don't make a big catastrophic, I got to grab my tape measure, big catastrophic mistake here. There's a swoop in this log right here. I want to make sure that that swoop is around the height of this. So this is about, it's just a little more than 10.5. Same thing here. And it's a little higher here. So I think I'm going to take it at 10. It looks like we'll be okay. Skim it off. And I'm feeling optimistic anyway. Let's take it at 10. Woo, this is going to be tight. And this log did move a little bit. I'm just going to double check if it's square. I do not understand. No, it's totally square. I don't understand why I'm getting so much movement in these logs right now. I'm going to come to down to 9. Then probably flip it over and then we'll start shaving it into a 6. So it's not the greatest face in the world, but it's going to help us get going. We're going to flip it over, clean up the other side. There's a bump out on the other side, so that should help us. Just clean this off. Keep my faces clean. This side here needs to come down about 1 inch. So where's my crayon? So I think I'm just going to write 1 inch on that side just so I know as I'm looking at it what needs to happen. Could I take it down 1 inch right now? I could, but I don't like trying to keep it from flipping over the way it's positioned. I'd rather get it on the flat side on it. Just flip it all the way over. And then it's just going to be a battle to getting it to a 6x6. I'm already seeing some black staining on it where it's touching the bunks and stuff. They're just going to have to sand that out. There's just no easy way to deal with that. So this side, yeah, it looks like, man, it's gonna be tight. I don't think I can do it. It's gonna be tight. I don't think it's gonna happen on this log. So I'm gonna kind of want to cut it at 7. And I might have to take an inch off the other side. I have 8'8", so that's gonna help any drop off in this end. But I think what we're gonna do right now is we're just gonna cut this thing at 7. I'm probably just gonna flip it straight over at that point and cut it to 6. Might even try it at 7.5. See how that looks. Try it at 7.5. And I'm gonna have to pause you because I'm running out of fuel. You guys look at a log and you think, oh, that's not gonna be a problem. Oh, it can be a problem. I gotta put some fuel in the mill. I'm gonna pause you. All right, so we got fuel in the mill. I am gonna have to do a fuel run tomorrow. I'm almost out of fuel in the Bobcat too. There's Danny hunting for chipmunks. So let's try to finish this thing off. It's good that I have a little bit on each side to kind of whittle away. Take this, then we'll probably drop and just take it to 7 because I know I need an inch out of that other side. And then we'll take it off the sides and hopefully we get into a fairly clean 6x6. All right, so I'm still not thin enough there. I'm just going to come to 7, so I'm going to take really a ½ inch off this side. Then we're going to start kind of measuring and flipping. Just taking it at 7 first, then I would have been fine. So I think what we're going to do now is we are going to flip it all the way over. I'm just going to do a couple of measurements here. From 6 here. Yeah, from 6 there. So that's all that Wayne was going to come off. We're going to flip it all the way over and take it to 6 the other way. Because the other side sucks. And what am I want to make sure I take a bunch off that other side. So we're not going to not even mess with taking anything off this face right now. I love timber frame people too, because really, in all honesty, the number is pretty arbitrary, isn't it? Like, could it be a 5.5 by 5.5? You know, if I was making my own deck, it definitely would not have to be a 6. So we're going to take this side to 6. It needs it. There's a whole bunch of Wayne here that's going to help. You know, could it be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4? It probably could be 5.5. All the hangers would work that way anyway. That got rid of a ton of wane and a little bit of tension. So now I've got wane here and wane here. My width, I think, was 7. Huh. This is going to be really tight. I think we're going to have to take ½ inch off each side. That's what it looks like to me. We're going to flip it up, take a ½ inch off, flip it over, take a ½ inch off, I think. That's what it looks like, and hopefully we get to a 6x6. I don't think it's going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. This log is not going to yield a wane-free 6x6. I'm like 6 1/4 here. Let's check my front. Now I'm 6 here on the button. It's not going to happen. I'll take it sucks. Yeah, I mean, I've only got an inch to go. There's not a lot of wane on the other side. It's just a teeny little bit, but it's there. I'm almost thinking it makes more sense to cut the other side first, take as little off it as I can. It's not much on this side. No, there's not much here at all. I think we're going to shave ourselves in here, so I think I'll take it off here first. Then flip it over and take it to 6. See what we end up with. It's very, very close. So we're going to go to 6 and like 3/4, see what that looks like. Take like a 1/4 inch pass like this. There's still a tiny bit of wane on it. I'll take another ½ inch off the other side. See what that looks like. I don't think this is going to clean up. I don't think it's going to clean up. Take a ½ inch off this side. Come to 6 1/4. See if we can save a 1/4 inch to the other side. So it's worse on this side. I'm just going to take it to 6 inches. I'm probably going to have to cut them 5 of them. Send 5 of them up, and they can pick 4 and send me back whatever they don't use. I'm just going to cut this to 6 right now. For anybody else in the world, this would be beautiful, but I don't think it's going to be good enough for them. So let me just check my dimensions. I should be 6 by 6 now. 6, 6. Okay, I'm 6 by 6. As careful as I was, there is still some sapwood on this. There is a teeny little bit of wane on this too. Now, if I was the homeowner, I would cut this to 5.5 by 5.5 right now and pretty much get rid of everything. Because I could take a 1/2 inch off this side here and this and a 1/4 and a 1/4 and have nothing on it. But that's not my call. So I'll give you a look at what we got going on. Stinks. It's always fucking tight with me. So obviously we have a 6 by 6. You can see we got a teeny little bit of wane right there. And we have a little bit of sapwood on the top. We have a little bit of sapwood on the bottom. Now, the other part of this is that we only need 8 feet of this. So let's just take a measurement, see where the 8 feet comes out. So 8 feet's right here. That does get rid of this chunk of sapwood right here and a little bit on the bottom, but it doesn't help it a ton. So I'm going to get this one set aside. The Stella Cut band's still just cutting phenomenal. It's 7 degrees. It just cuts great. So I'll get this one set aside. I do need to go over and try to pull out that 10 by 10. I think I'm going to do that for the hell of it, just to make sure that I don't have any problems with that thing. And I'll shoot another video and I'll get the 10 by 10 up here. We'll shave it down to a 6 by 6. And then hopefully we can steal, we're going to need 3 more. You know, in case they reject one of these, we're going to need 3 more. So I will look up top and see if I got a better log. I know there's some more up there. And we will cut them kind of best to worst here. Hopefully we can do it. The big problem is that I just had a monster log come in that the tree guy told me was a white oak. So if you look, I don't know if you can see up top up there, but right where my finger's pointing right here is a big old log sticking out of that log pile that the tree guy, when he showed up, said was a white oak. I was counting on getting 2 out of it, and it's not a white oak, it's a tupelo. So that doesn't help us. So now I'm left cutting these out of what I have out back and making sure that the ones that I cut are white oak and not black oak. So that's it. We'll get this one set aside. I'm going to have to move some stuff over here. I got to get this bunk out of here. Probably just kind of stuff it over there somewhere. And then I got to pull all that stuff down and maybe go in there with my grapples to get that 10 by out of the back. And we'll get that up on the mill. And we'll see if we can deal with that one. And hopefully these will be good enough for him. I don't know. I mean, would that be a good enough 6 by 6 for me in white oak? Yes. Would I, if I didn't want any sapwood or anything on it, would I just cut it to 5.5 by 5.5? Yes. So let's see. We'll try to give them roughs on 6 by 6 true. And if they don't like it, then we'll just keep going. So you're talking about in a job like this, like it's, it's a $500 job. It would take me an hour to cut. So we'll have to see. My guess is that there's going to be a problem with that one. So we'll take it from there. For now, Power Solutions out.